warm good evening to you from Washington Community High School in Washington, Illinois, where we're moments away from a Mid-Illini conference matchup on this fine Monday night. It's the Washington Panthers hosting the Limestone Rockets. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us alongside Jonathan Michael. It's Larry Larson in with you. And Jonathan, this is a second matchup of the season between these two teams. And there was a bit of an upset in the first matchup. Limestone welcomed Washington to its gym and upset the Panthers by 7 points. That came back in December, and I know there was a little bit of trash talk online between the schools on our Instagram page. It got a little intense, and I've been told that could be a little bit different tonight here in Washington.
Definitely. I mean, Limestone put the Mid-Illini Conference on notice, put me on notice certainly, in their December 4th win at Limestone at 60-53 win. A great win for that Limestone team that is very young, Larry. This is the first time we've seen them play this year. They only have one senior in Frank Driscoll this year. They're obviously their star player, Daquan Brown, the sophomore guard, and transfer from Peoria High School. He's going to be a player to watch. But Limestone, I'm really excited to see them play. And again, I want to see them see if they can play well on the road as well.
Limestone comes in with a record of 6-14 as we work through some technical difficulties. We're all good here. There, we got our camera back. Limestone 6-14, 4-4 in the Mid-Illini Conference. As for Washington, they're 16-6 and 7-2 in the conference, up near the top. But you mentioned Limestone being a very young team, Jonathan, and that's exactly what head coach Tony Thomason told me just a few moments ago. He said, because we're young, we play very stiff on the road, and especially here at Washington, that could cause trouble. Definitely,
and Torrey Gymnasium is one of the loudest ones in the Mid-Illini Conference. We've been here for some barn burners of matchups this year versus the TOC and then Metamora, Washington. That got very loud. A little bit of a smaller crowd here tonight, but nonetheless, very loud environment. Be interesting to see how Limestone will respond. And Larry, going back to Limestone being a young team, they're getting some great experience this year. Their non-conference schedule includes some powers such as Moline, Peoria, P&D, Rockridge, Mount Carmel. They're a battle-tested team. I'm really looking forward to see, even if they might not get the big wins this year, see what they can do next year. Games like these are really going to prepare the Rockets.
That's exactly what Coach Thomason said. He said it's all about the process, and it's been up and down, but they have had some big wins, and they have beat some good teams, Washington included. Starting lineups getting introduced right now. Let's get them to you, starting with the visitors in gray and blue from Limestone. It starts with Jacob Barrowman, a sophomore guard, followed by Cooper Wabel, a junior guard forward. Clayton Bell follows, a junior forward as well. Daquan Brown, the aforementioned, a star sophomore guard. And to round it out, it's the aforementioned as well, lone senior on the roster, Frank Driscoll, number 23 for the Rockets. Those are the Rockets. These are the host Panthers, and it starts with Jake Stewart, a 5'9 junior guard who's proved to be clutch at times this year. Drew Lewis also up there for the Panthers, a name that many fans recognize from the football field as well as the basketball court. Isaac Mapson, a 6'6 senior forward, a very large figure in the paint. Jamari White, number 20, and white and orange also in the starting lineup, and Andrew Coker rounds it out at 6'5". And John, you look at the heights for the Panthers, that's another thing where they have the advantage because they're a little bit older than Limestone, but they're also bigger.
Definitely, and Isaac Mapson, presents a lot of matchup problems at 6'6". Limestone doesn't quite have that size. They have Frank Driscoll at 6'1" down low, and Clayton Bell, another forward as well. But it's a game I think that Isaac Mapson can really go off. I mean, I don't want to speculate too much, but I mean, a double-double could be in the question if Limestone doesn't have the proper game plan in place.
Indeed, and Jonathan, while we're on that note, what do you think a key to the game is for both sides?
Well, for Limestone, like you said, we mentioned earlier, it's got to play loose, you got to play well on the road, and that comes with time, that comes with experience, and I think by this point in the season, I think Limestone will have that. So I think they have the firepower to keep this competitive. For Washington, I think it all revolves around Drew Lewis. He was a huge playmaker, and he's just such an incredible player to watch. I'm watching him.
Daquan Brown and Jamari White square off in the face-off, and we're underway. Face-off, what is this? Hockey tip-off, and we're underway in Washington. Andrew Coker at the deep left wing as the Panthers set into their slow and methodical offense. Quick jumper from Mapson falls short. Battle for the boards. Mapson's on it, and it's going to be a tie-up.
That's hustle there by Mapson, getting on the floor, and that's what you want to see out of your senior leaders, diving for those loose balls, going for it. It's going to be a Limestone ball, but you know, this Washington team, they're gonna hustle every single play of this game, and that's what head coach Eric Schermerhorn preaches a lot.
Here is Daquan Brown, the star transfer from Peoria High, averaging 17 points per game, orchestrates the offense for the Rockets, getting face guarded by Drew Lewis. There you see the immediate respect that the Panthers give him. Around the horn, quick trigger three from the corner, goes down for Cooper Wabel.
Yeah, Cooper Wabel, he is, other than Daquan Brown, he's arguably the number 2 option for this Rockets team. He's scored 22 against Mount Carmel. So they have Daquan Brown, but they also have other playmakers in Wabel and Jacob Borrowman, the sophomore guard as well.
Jake Stewart at the deep left wing. Gets it to Lewis. From 14, he got it.
There's another example of Drew Lewis being able to create his own shot, pulling up, elbow jumper. That's exactly the type of shot you want to take if you're Lewis.
Quick shot for Limestone off the mark from Borrowman as Mapson tries to show off the handles and gets tied up. Possession arrow favors the Panthers this time. Quick sub, Braden Vanderheit gives Jamari White an early rest.
Larry, I don't know if it's you. I think Isaac Mapson might be sporting a new haircut. His hair looks a little bit shorter this time.
It does. I agree. It does look a little bit different coming out with a new appearance. Same tenacious play, though. Stewart down low. Mapson had the position, and he gets the bucket to show for it.
And Limestone, you can't give up too many of those buckets today. Mapson almost wide open down low. He can make it happen.
Weibel picked up by Stewart. Lost it inside, but he's fouled. Jonathan, one thing I picked up on early is Washington does not want Limestone to get any easy threes. They're guarding steps beyond the perimeter.
I noticed that as well, Larry. I mean, we saw it on Daquan Brown, the first offensive possession for the Rockets. I mean, his face guarded there by Lewis. Jake Stewart played some tenacious on-ball D there. And I think Washington is going to try and frazzle Limestone here on the road.
Daquan Brown perhaps frazzles Washington with that crafty bucket. Rockets back in front by 1.
There I saw Daquan Brown getting interest from Northern Illinois and University of Illinois already. He is only a sophomore. Boy, am I excited to see him play for the next 2 years.
Bright future for this young man. Number 20 in gray. Number 12 in white. Hands off to Drew Lewis. Elbow jumper. Too strong. There's Mapson battling for the board with Brown, and Brown wins this battle. Brown jets inside. The runner called for the charge.
A nice job there from Mapson. Great call there by the ref. Mapson has feet set for a good amount of time. And like you said, Isaac Mapson, he really makes a lot of plays that you expect your seniors to make, with that being one of them.
Limestone looking to sweep the season series from Washington, a perennial Mid-Illini Conference power. Jake Stewart drives inside, kicks out Drew Lewis. Here's Braden Vanderheit in the posts, drops it in with the hook.
He showed shades of his older brother, Devin Vanderheit, the senior last year, now at Lewis University. Standout forward for the Panthers. Easy bucket there.
Braden a little bit smaller than his brother. That definitely doesn't help, but you see the same tenacity and physicality in the post. Brown looking for some space. Step back three, halfway down and out. Thought he had it, and a foul on the floor as Bell tried to chase down the loose ball.
Larry, one thing I've been really impressed with so far with Limestone is they're really crashing the boards well, despite the size difference that we talked about earlier with Mapson at 6'6" and now Devin Vanderheit He's got some height at 6'3" as well. Limestone really not giving Washington any easy boards.
Limestone goes down low. Driscoll off the glass for 2.
Nice cut there from Driscoll, the big man with the cut. Limestone looking good so far.
They've got a 1-point edge early. Washington again goes inside to Vanderheit, and it's taken away. Look at the speed from Borrowman. Races Lewis to the other end and picks up 2 points. Timeout taken as Daquan Brown is a little shaken up for the Rockets.
That's definitely not what you want to see for Limestone. Brown's on his feet right now. He might have just been shaken up a little bit, but Lear, how about these Rockets? I mean, just shooting out of the gate so far, a 9-6 lead, and Jacob Borrowman just did something that not a lot of people can do, and that's outrace Drew Lewis to the basket and finish without getting your shot blocked. Lewis, one of the more prolific shot blockers in the Mid-Illini Conference.
Brendan Deacon comes in for Brown. You mentioned it, John. Limestone dictating the pace of this game early. Washington likes to slow it down. Limestone likes to push it. Lewis dances on the dribble, finds White in the corner, and the 3 goes down.
Jamari White getting into the scoreboard column for Washington. Now, he's a player that didn't contribute a lot last year to the Panthers, but this year he's really came on well. He's gotten some big buckets and some big minutes for the Panthers.
Hit the game-winning shot last weekend against Morton, or at Morton.
That was
in a game not against Morton. And right on cue, White makes it back-to-back buckets.
And that Washington-Morton game was something else from what I heard. I was not at that game, but like I said, Gus Rugard draining the 3 from Morton, and then Jamari White responding. The triple of his own as time expires. Panthers won that one 65-63. Continue their hot streak. They are 11-2 since Christmas, Larry. Really turned it around since the calendar has turned to 2022.
They've won 10 of their last 11, and again, that game was indeed against Morton, so my memory failed me there. We'll step aside for a quick message from Uftring.
Upgrade to 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive during Uftring's Traction for All sales event. With new SUVs and trucks in stock and inbound, plus fresh trades and pre-owned for every budget. Reduce the slide in your ride during the Traction for All sales event at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
Tonight's presentation of Mid-Illini Conference basketball is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. Give Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit him online at jakewestoninsurance.com. And by Keps Sports Bar and Grill here in Washington. The sign says it all, folks. Great atmosphere, superb food, and a great family-oriented environment. Visit Keps at 313 Muller Road right here in Washington. Panthers with the early lead over Mid-Illini Conference rival Limestone, 12-9. Washington trying to avenge an early season loss to the Rockets, a 60-53 defeat back on December 4th. Early storyline in this one, Daquan Brown a little shaken up. The star guard for Limestone is checked back in, and he's picked up by Drew Lewis out of the break. Weibel kicks back up top to Bell. Gets downhill, may have taken one extra step. Got away with it. He was blocked by Vanderheit. He'll stay here.
And again, just great defense by the Panthers, making the Rockets work for every bucket there. Washington's defense reminds me of another good team in orange. Illinois, we got some great perimeter defenders. Then you have Coburn down low. Maybe from Washington, you have Isaac Mapson. Kind of a far comparison. But
I was going to say a little bit of a stretch, 7'1", 6'6", same thing.
A little bit of a stretch, but Isaac Mapson is bigger than a lot of big guys in the Mid-Illini Conference. And for Illinois, they have Trent Frazier, great defensive guard. In Washington, they have Drew Lewis.
Lewis misses the 3, and Brown chases down the board. He jets ahead in transition, shake and bake, but no dinner. White hauls it in. Now Stewart pushes the pace ahead to Vanderheit. There's Lewis, and he comes up short. You got a track meet in the first quarter between Washington and Limestone.
That certainly benefits Limestone. Washington, like you said earlier, trying to slow the pace down. Limestone They'll live up to their name. The Rockets can try and jet out on the fast break, push the tempo.
Deacon up top to Weibel. Now back to Driscoll. Brown slows it down. Drives inside through the triple team. Gets the finish. Brown has 4.
That was with his offhand, too, coming in from the left side. Nice job there from Brown. 4 early points for the sophomore.
Washington attempting to build on a 1-point lead. White to the inside with his back to the bucket. Couldn't get it and takes a hard fall. Brown, teardropper, is off. And a loose ball foul sends it the other way. Foul there against Clayton Bell. That's his first and team's second. It's been a good flow to this game, Jonathan. Not a lot of fouls and a lot of physicality.
No kidding. I mean, this game's been going back and forth. Not really a lot of stoppages in play. We've yet to see a free throw so far in this one. And only 4 fouls called in total so far. I'm expecting the pace of this one to keep pretty high the rest of the game.
Vanderheit, third tries the charm for the Panthers, not there. And a foul called on the floor. That one's going to be against Stewart. That's his second, so Stewart in some foul trouble early with Washington ahead by 1. About 30 seconds to go in the opening quarter.
And for Washington, you'll see Micah Brewer. He just checked in for Jake Stewart, and that's really not much of a drop-off at all. Micah Brewer, the 5'10 junior, he can stroke it from 3 just like Jake Stewart can. He's earned some big minutes so far this year. So Washington very deep at guard. Stewart, Lewis, Brewer, Andrew Coker, also a big guy as well. He can play the guard position as well.
Limestone can hold for the final shot, but they won't. Clayton Bell fell asleep at the wheel. Brown was looking for him on the cross-court pass, and all of a sudden, the ball was in the Panthers' back.
Yeah, and you saw DeQuan Brown, his facial expression, he didn't look too happy. It was his teammate Bell. That's big because Limestone could have gone into the second quarter with an advantage. Now they give the ball back to Washington, who will likely hold for the last shot.
Panthers have 13. It's Brewer. Now Coker. Under 10. Mapson gets inside. The spin cycle and 1.
Oh boy, Larry, you don't want to let Isaac Mapson get cooking. What a spin move there from the big guy. I mean, he just went right up against Driscoll. As soon as he felt that contact, spun around. Easy bucket right there for the senior, or at least he made it look easy.
2 big fellas banging bodies down there. Mapson has the size advantage by a few inches. Chance for the old-fashioned 3, and he capitalizes. Panthers ahead by 4. Brown has a second, pulls up for the triple, and comes up just short. Washington leads Limestone by 4 after a quarter. I want to remind you that tonight's presentation of Mid-Illini Conference basketball is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm here in Washington. For all your insurance needs, visit jakewestoninsurance.com or give Jake a call, 309-444-4441. It's Jake from State Farm in Washington. Also brought to you by Keps. Great atmosphere, superb food, and family-oriented dining atmosphere. It's a great sports bar, but sports bar you can bring the family to. Give Keps a visit here in Washington. I can vouch for their wings as well as their post-game snack food. It's A1.
Yes, I can, Larry. I remember vividly we did go to Keps after a game here in Washington last week. Can't say enough about it. I really loved it. Food was very good. I think I had some fried pickles there. I love fried pickles a lot. And Keps did not disappoint.
Yes, indeed. They were delicious, can confirm. But, Jonathan, what did you see from Washington in that second half of the first quarter? It looked like they started to play with Limestone a little bit and push the pace, and it paid off.
Definitely, and I think, it really kind of started to change when Jamari White hit those back-to-back threes. Those 6 quick points really benefited them a lot. If you push the pace, catch Limestone off guard, and you'll find Jamari White open behind the line. and it led to 2 threes for him.
Daquan Brown jets inside to the right block and kicks it back out. Limestone looking to reset. Limestone, a very young team with just one senior. They're entering this matchup 4-4 in the conference. Washington 7-2. Brown inside and the finger roll.
A little bit of some jelly there from Daquan Brown. He put a little English on that one. So he got that one to go.
White falls short on the other end. Loose ball. Lewis comes up with it. And he got hand checked or called for the travel. It looked like they were going to call a foul initially, but they got him on the walk.
Larry, you were right there. I think that was going to be called a foul as well, but I think the referee reversed his call and said, wait a second. He walked with that one. Lewis with the turnover, and now Limestone can take the lead with the 3 here.
Daquan Brown again. Back-to-back buckets with a star sophomore. Ties it up.
Brown with 8 so far, and Eric Shermore is not happy. Out on the court, having a few words for his players there, but, I mean, how do you defend Daquan Brown? I mean, he has gotten to the rack with ease, and he can finish as well. He's just really, he can do it all for Limestone.
And the challenge with him, Jonathan, is if you come out and press him a little bit, he's got such a quick step off the dribble, he can get by you in a blink of an eye and finish like we just saw at the rim, but as of last week, he was shooting 40% from 3.
Definitely. I mean, he's a guy that can just hurt you in so many ways. Like you said, you guard him too closely, he'll blow by you down to the bucket. You leave him open, you sag off a little bit, he's going to knock in a couple threes on you. So hard to figure out how to defend Daquan Brown. I want to see if Washington maybe hits him with some double teams as we get later on into this one.
Panthers with a chance to regain the lead. Drew Lewis surveying Limestone zone. Andrew Coker, the triple. Got it.
There's Coker's first bucket of the game. He's hit a couple big threes so far this year. I believe at the TOC. I'm trying to remember. We've done a lot of Washington games, but he hit a big 3 that essentially saved one of their wins.
Lewis can't hit the acrobatic bucket. And Driscoll plucks the rebound. Brown ahead to an open Barrowman, halfway down and out. Now Lewis wants to go. Lewis swims through the defense, down low to Vanderheit. Can't get it. White doesn't get a chance. Here comes Brown to the right block through contact, spins off the rim. There's a lid on the bucket for both sides the last few moments.
And I knew Daquan Brown was he wanted that one. I don't think he was gonna pass there. There might have been a little bit more better suited, dishing that one off to his teammate.
And there's a steal by Driscoll, but he can't chase it down. Look at the hustle from the senior. Oftentimes you don't see veterans try and jump passing lanes, but Driscoll did it there.
Yeah, great play there from Driscoll. I haven't called his name too much in the scoring column at least so far. He's just got 1 bucket so far, but Driscoll, he does all the little things right for this Rockets team, and his experience is very much needed. Like you said, only one senior on this team for the Rockets. I like the way they're going to look in the future, though.
Andrew Coker in some trouble at the left wing. Lewis around a screen. Mapson can't hit from out there. Wants to go back inside, though. Showing off the moves. Mapson having a big game. He's got 7.
This one might come down to who can outplay each other between Mapson and Daquan Brown.
Panthers leading Limestone 20-15. Thanks for joining us here on Clutch Sports Media. Great Mid-Illini Conference basketball matchup for you. Limestone took the first matchup. Washington trying to even the season series. These two teams could meet in the playoffs, both 3A schools. Limestone hosting a regional. Washington is in that subsectional. Something to keep an eye on. Lewis dancing on the dribble. It's Mapson. Hesitation on the baseline. Micah Brewer, a nasty head fake, but no 3 to show for it. There goes Barrowman again, the finger roll. Jacob Barrowman the fastest player on the floor, and it's not close, Jonathan.
That's the second time that Borrowman has gotten past Lewis and gone in for a layup. And I don't know if I've seen any other player at all this year able to blow past Lewis and get the layup. Borrowman's really impressive so far.
Micah Brewer kicks in as Washington surveys a little bit of a full court press from Limestone. Brewer going downhill. Thought better of it. Coker back to Mapson, now Lewis. Washington with a long possession here. Limestone's bench trying to make some noise. Lewis on the baseline makes it look easy.
Larry, those are the possessions that we're accustomed to seeing from Washington, those long possessions that ended in an easy bucket at the rack. That time Lewis was able to find the baseline, which is always good to see if you're a guard, able to knock that one in.
Cooper Weibel's bucket is waved off, foul on the floor. That one against Jamari White. That's his first and team's fourth. And that'll take it to our mask timeout. And a quick word from Uftring.
It's Uftring's Traction for All sales event with the 4-wheel and all-wheel drive trucks and SUVs you need for winter driving. Interest rates are at record lows and trade values are at historic highs. Plus, changes to the trade tax law means you'll get your full tax credit at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
Tonight's presentation of Clutch Sports Media brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm. Give him a visit online at JakeWestonInsurance.com or call him up at 309-444-4441 for all your insurance needs. It's Jake from State Farm in Washington. Also brought to you by Keps Sports Bar and Grill here in Washington. Great atmosphere, great food, and heck, maybe you can catch a Washington Panthers game there sometime right here on CSM inside Keps. Back inside Torrey Gymnasium, Washington leading Limestone 22-17 at the second quarter mass timeout. Larry Larson, Jonathan Michael in with you. And Jonathan, Daquan Brown's been getting his buckets. He's got 8 points, but everybody else from Limestone not having such an easy night.
Yeah, Larry, I think if you can just get someone else to maybe step it up a little bit, maybe get a couple more buckets to fall, I think Limestone could be in the driver's seat in this one. I'd like to see if Borrowman or Driscoll could maybe get a few more.
Right on cue, another bucket from Brown. He's in double figures now. Washington still with a 3-point lead. They've had command for most of this one in case you're just joining us.
One thing I've noticed from Limestone, Larry, is they haven't really looked as frazzled as head coach Tony Thompson said that they might be on the road. They're playing like they belong.
Brown with a steal. Shimmies to the baseline. Kicks to Borrowman. The tray. Got it. Points to the student section in celebration. We got a brand new ball game.
Those are really just give you so much confidence during that three right in front of the student section. It's the ultimate I showed you moment as a high school basketball player.
Washington once again slowing it down on the offensive end. Limestone hanging right with them. And Mapson turns it over. Deacon walks it up. Daquan Brown says, let's slow it down.
I think what we might see from Limestone more is if they can keep this game tight or even have a lead, I think they will try and maybe slow this game down, not let Washington get back into it too quickly.
Weibel against White, now Borrowman. Into the corner, Driscoll. Gets position on Mapson and hits the reverse. And just like that, the Rockets are back in front.
How about that from the Rockets, Larry? Just as we talked about other people stepping, Borrowman drains a three. Driscoll with a nice reverse layup there on Mapson. Not a very easy thing to do. Limestone back on top.
Mapson, the dish to Vanderheit. A little too much on the three. And a foul on the rebound called against Micah Brewer.
I think if Mapson may have turned around there, you would have seen he had a wide open bucket. He had him on the fake, but if you just were to turn back to the right, you would have an easy layup. Take it out to Vanderheit, which didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. Vanderheit can shoot the three, though. Honestly, anybody on Washington can shoot it from deep.
Right on cue, Daquan Brown drains it from deep. He's got 13 points, and Limestone has a 5-point lead. Panthers need a response. Minute before the halftime break. Lewis calling for a screen and instead hits Micah Brewer. Panthers have a tendency to hold for the final shot before the half. Lewis nearly lost it.
What's most important here for the Panthers, I think, is getting a nice high percentage shot down low. I think you got to look for Mapson, maybe look for Lewis on the drive as well. Those are usually the type of plays that Washington likes to end quarters and halves on.
Brewer. 17 seconds left. Brewer now with 13. Lewis with 10 against Deacon. Drives inside, has 7. Here's Mapson with 5, with 4. Lewis with 3. Kicks out. Brewer before the horn. Not enough shooter's touch. And the Limestone Rockets are fired up. They'll head to the halftime break with a 5-point lead over 7-2 Washington.
Yeah, great defense of their possession from Limestone to end the quarter. Washington had a lot of time to work with to try and figure out a play. Limestone defended it very well, though. Frustrated Mapson, frustrated Lewis, and their defense really turned it up in the last couple of minutes of that second quarter. I really like the way they've been playing, especially here on the road. It's one place where Limestone has struggled to win this year, but my word, they are impressing so far in the Torrey Gymnasium.
Limestone led by 13 points from its super sophomore Daquan Brown. Washington getting 7 points from Isaac Mapson, as well as 6 points from Jamari White. We'll step aside for a brief halftime break. Come back in a few moments, get you set for the second half of action. You're watching Mid-Illini Conference basketball on Clutch Sports Media. we welcome you back into the broadcast booth. Hope you've enjoyed listening to the Washington Community High School Pep Band here in Torrey Gymnasium. Limestone leads Washington by 5 at the half, looking to sweep the season series between these opponents. Limestone took the first matchup back in December, 60-53, and Jonathan Michael, we saw a very impressive performance from the Rockets on the road. We were told by head coach Tony Thomason that the Limestone Rockets have really struggled on the road this year, but not tonight, at least so far.
Yeah, Limestone's played really good at their home gym so far this year, but like their head coach Tony Thomason said, he said they kind of tightened up. They get a little frazzled playing on the road. They've handled that very well so far. I haven't really seen them look frazzled much at all in the first half at least. And for Limestone, this is a huge game. I mean, they're right in the thick of things in the Mid-Illini Conference. They're right there with Dunlap. They're right there with Pekin and some of the schools, East Peoria, who we're going to see tomorrow as well. So getting these wins against these top teams like Washington, Morton, Metamora, these types of wins can really elevate your program and get you in good position heading into the playoffs.
Washington trying to stay at just 2 losses in the Mid-Illini Conference. They're 7-2. Meanwhile, the Rockets are 4-4, right in the mix there in the middle. It's going to be tough for them to catch up for a conference title race, but again, looks like at least tonight they're starting to play their best basketball down the stretch.
Definitely, and that's all because of Daquan Brown, I think. Obviously, you have the other contributors in Jacob Barrowman, Frank Driscoll. They've been great supporting players for Limestone, but Daquan Brown, this is the first half of basketball I've seen him play in a Limestone uniform, and boy, he impressive. 13 points in the first half. I'm interested to see what Eric Schermerhorn told his team in the locker room about how to contain Brown. I'm sure that was number one on the agenda at the half.
Washington definitely a defensive-focused program as the second half gets underway. Panthers trying to cut into a 5-point deficit. Jake Stewart with it between the rings. Coker, now Mapson. Looking for Lewis down low. Had the position on Brown and drops in the easy 2.
And I think that's what Washington is going to keep on going to. I would have been very surprised if they tried to shoot their way out of this. Getting those easy looks down low to their bread and butter.
Brown goes inside, kicks out. Barrowman for 3 off the attachment. Long board goes to Bell. And Driscoll turns it over.
A tough sequence there for Limestone. He got the offensive board, and you always want to convert on those. Couldn't quite get it done there.
Jake Stewart sets up the offense. Mapson again looking for the inside, this time for Jamari White. Now Mapson himself dives down low. Jostling for post position, and a foul is called against Daquan Brown. That's his second personal, first foul of the half for either side.
That's something you want to watch if you're Limestone, but yeah, it's 2 fouls. Not a huge problem at this point in the game, although if he picks up his 3rd here in the next maybe say minute or 2, could be looking at maybe subbing him out, as you don't want Brown to be sitting on your bench down the stretch.
He has sat on the bench once tonight when he took a blow to the face in the first quarter, but shook it off quick. Definitely an Energizer bunny for head coach Tony Thomason.
One thing I've seen from Brown is he's a very emotional player on the court. He gets fired up whenever his team scores a bucket, gets frustrated whenever he makes a mistake. Sometimes you need that person to light a fire under you, and for Limestone, that's definitely been Daquan Brown.
Andrew Coker fouled on the baseline. He'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2. Coker with just a triple tonight. And he comes up short on the first. Coker, a player who has been clutch and stepped up for Washington at various times. You brought up the Tournament of Champions earlier today at a 20-plus point game and a win over Urbana in the early season. Washington, a team that has a lot of cast members that can put up double figures as they force a turnover, and Stewart will head to the stripe.
That, Larry, I believe is the third foul. Yes, it is the third foul drawn by Washington in just the first, math is not great, 99 seconds.
There you go. There's a reason we're working in sports, not math.
No kidding. 3 fouls, though, in the first 99 seconds, though, drawn by Washington. And sometimes the easiest way to climb out of a deficit and get to the free throw line. Washington's been pretty good there this year. That's what helped them in their win against Metamora. They made their free throws.
Panthers knotted up at 27 thanks to early second half free throws. And Jonathan, that's one thing that can cost a young team is fouls.
Definitely, and we saw Limestone play a pretty clean game in that first half. That first quarter seemed like it was flying by.
Brown blocked by Coker. Lewis, or rather Mapson, looking for Lewis. Finally gets it to him, shakes his man on the baseline, and he stepped out.
And Limestone dodged the bullet there, almost their 4th foul in the early going. That's why I thought the whistle was for a split second. But Lewis was out there. Limestone will get a chance. I think you really need to get a bucket here, and I think you go to Brown.
There goes Brown, and he'll slow it down. All knotted up at 27. Washington led for much of the first half before Limestone made a surge before the break. 3 from Bell comes up short. Rebound volleyballed around into the hands of Coker. Stewart lobs it up for Lewis, and he was fouled. Clayton Bell can't believe it. Yeah, that will not go against Bell. That's against Driscoll, his second.
Yeah, I thought I was right there with Clayton Bell. I didn't think that he should have been called for the foul there.
Mapson misses and then goes over the back, so it's going the other way.
Yeah, like I said, Limestone, they don't want to get too far into foul trouble here. They put Washington at the line, they get points with the clock stopped. These guys know how to make their clutch free throws, that is for certain.
Weibel from downtown off. Limestone struggled from deep in the second quarter and now the third. Stewart down low to a wide open Mapson. He's got 9. Timeout taken by Limestone with 5 minutes to play in the third.
Yeah, nice run there from Washington, and it's kind of what you've come to expect from this Panther team. They are truly not to say that they're a bad first half, they're a very good team in the first half, but they really just turn on the Jets in the second half, and that's really propelled them to a lot of their wins so far this season. See Eric Schermerhorn, their head coach, talking to them in the huddle. He's great at making adjustments for this Panther team, and so far they're adjusting well to the Rockets. Taquan Brown hasn't made a huge impact so far, at least in the second half.
I was going to say, Jonathan, a lot of that second half team title probably belongs to the coaching staff. Washington with a stellar coaching staff that's been in place for a long time. Head coach Eric Schermerhorn in just his second full season at the helm of the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, split time with head coach Kevin Brown in his final season and worked with Coach Brown for such a long time, and it was Coach Brown that really set the tone for this Panthers program, which has found sustained success in the Mid-Illini. This year, no exception. They're 7-2. Limestone's 4-4, looking to beat the Panthers for the second time this season. Limestone could take the lead with a 3. Coker nearly poked it away. Bell finds Brown, lost Lewis, splits the defenders and draws the foul. Almost had a nifty and one. Jonathan, I don't know how he got through the sandwich of those two defenders.
No kidding. I was just about to say the same thing. Brown, he made that look. I mean, I don't know how you do that. The elevator doors were closing and he snuck in there just as those two Washington defenders were closing in there on him. A nice job there by Limestone and Brown getting to the line. It's also helped kind of settle the nerves a little bit. I think Limestone maybe looking a little bit more tense in the second half. Orange Crush student section, maybe partially the reason for that. Let's help slow the game down.
Stewart doesn't want to slow it down. He speeds it up and drops in his first field goal of the contest.
And Jake Stewart, a player from Washington who's been relatively quiet so far in this one. The real threat behind the three-point line.
Here's Brown again. Step back. Got it. He's talking his talk. Dicing up the senior Drew Lewis there, and it's tied back up.
And why shouldn't he, Larry? I mean, he is dropped in, what is he at now, 15, 16 points?
17 for Brown.
17. Like we said, it's the reason we're in sports and not math, but Daquan Brown, he is a college-ready player. I'm saying that right now.
No look pass down low, can't pick up the assist there. Lewis jets ahead the other way. No look pass to White. How's that for a response?
Somebody better be rolling the highlight tape here in Torrey Gymnasium, because these last few minutes have been enough to make an entire tape all on its own.
Tell your friends, get to clutchsportsil.com. Goodness gracious. Entire game practically a mixtape,
as the kids say.
Foul called on the drive as Wabel was trying to get to the hoop. And that, if I'm not mistaken, takes us to our third quarter mask timeout. Washington holds a 2-point lead in a back-and-forth battle here at Torrey Gymnasium. Here's a quick word from Uftring.
It's Uftring's Traction for All sales event with new SUVs and trucks in stock and inbound with 4-wheel and all-wheel drive. For better winter traction, take immediate action. Reduce the slide in your ride during the Traction for All sales event at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
Mid-Illini Conference basketball on Clutch Sports Media, brought to you by Kep Sports Bar and Grill right here in Washington. For great food and an even better atmosphere, visit Kep's at 313 Muller Road here in Washington. Also brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm. Visit him online at jakewestoninsurance.com or call him at 309-444-4441. It's Jake from State Farm. It's Washington 33, Limestone 31. Back and forth so far in the second half. Limestone led at the half by 5, Jonathan, but Washington, as they so often do, came out of the half reinvigorated.
Yeah, Washington started the quarter with a 7-0 run. Got themselves in the driver's seat at 29-27. But I will say, I'm impressed with the way Limestone has responded. It's so easy when a team, when it goes on a run, it's so easy to get down on yourself and kind of go on your own direction and forget about the team. Limestone, though, is staying together, and now they're back within a bucket.
Deacon dishes across. Wabel is fouled by White on the floor. Under 3 minutes to go. Quarter number 3. Glad you're with us on Clutch Sports Media.
What a game this one has been, Larry. I mean, this is the first time that we've gotten to see Limestone in person so far this year. We've seen Washington quite a bit. This game has been a lot better than some may have expected. I mean, some may have said that Limestone, maybe their win over Washington was a fluke early on. They're showing it wasn't. This team's here to play.
Timeout taken by the official as Drew Lewis lost the mask. And now looks like Frank Driscoll and Daquan Brown talking a few things out. And Driscoll inbounds to Brown, and we're back underway. Lewis face guarding Brown. Dishes into the corner. Deacon thought about the three. Instead, turns it over. Foul called there against Deacon, and Drew Lewis is a little slow to get up.
Yeah, tough situation there for Deacon. You saw him drive the lane, and he wanted to kick that one out. He's in a tough position to shoot, but Tough decision there. Try to get it inside, but Mapson is right there and take that one away.
Panthers trying to push their lead back over one possession. Lewis can do it. Can't hit it there. And a foul on the rebound called against Braden Vanderheit. That's Vanderheit's first and the team's fourth of the half.
Starting to see a little bit of a slower tempo here in the second half, and that's because a lot more fouls have been called, 5 apiece now in just the first about 5.5 minutes of the second half. Already more than we had in the first half as a whole, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Brown gets through a Washington press. He's trapped up at the top, nearly turned over. Rockets go immediately down low to Bell. Wable downhill and one.
What a play.
Cooper Wable with just his second made field goal of the contest. Comes at a big time. He goes to the line with a chance to give the Rockets the lead.
Cooper Wable can get some buckets here for Limestone. I mean, you know Daquan Brown is going to be getting buckets all night long, and it's been a known fact for most of this one, Larry. But if Cooper Wable can start pouring it in, one of these key supporting players for Limestone.
There's Wable, the dish down low, and the finish from Bell.
There's another supporting player, Bell, the starter for Limestone, getting his first bucket of the game. Now Limestone, they have all the momentum.
Vanderheit too strong off the window. Brown ahead to Bell, and it's tipped out off of Coker. Limestone's really feeling it, pushing it in transition, picking up a few turnovers, something that Washington is usually pretty good at doing, not turning the ball over.
Now Washington, they do take care of the ball real well. Limestone, though, if they can get on the break, it's another thing that is the little thing that could push them to a victory tonight, possibly.
Deep three from Wable is off. Stewart down there amongst the trees gets fouled. Foul there against Barrowman, that's his first. Washington, or rather, both teams are now in the 1-1 bonus with over a minute left in the third quarter.
It's gonna be a test of nerves. Who can make your free throws more down the stretch? Not long ago, it was Washington who made their free throws down the stretch over Metamora. That's a big reason why they were able to come out with a come-from-behind victory against the Redbirds.
Mapson lost the handle, thought it was off the Rockets, but it was off of him. Limestone will have a chance to push its lead past one possession. Panthers again press. Brown with Wable in the backcourt. Brown downhill, double teamed, passes out of it. Wable the triple, too strong. And Lewis is fouled by Brown, that's his third.
That is Brown's third. Also for the Panthers, Jamari White also has 3 fouls as well, so that's something to keep an eye on. And it looks like Brown will not take a seat. He's still in the game, played almost all of this contest.
At this point, no use in really trying to be conservative with him. Lewis to the free throw line. He's got 6 points tonight. And his first rattles in. Drew Lewis, an experienced player in multiple sports for the Panthers, leader on the football field, now leader in the basketball court. He was injured at the start of the season, missed the Tournament of Champions due to a football injury, and as soon as he came back, really gave this Panthers team a surge. And you said, Jonathan, Washington 11-1 since Christmas, and Lewis is a big reason why.
Yeah, Washington didn't get off to a super hot start in the win-loss column. They started the season 5-4, albeit playing against some stiff competition at the Tournament of Champions, but Drew Lewis has been that guy for the Panthers. He's keyed them to a lot of wins.
Barrowman misses the three. Brown kicks it back to him. Rockets can hold for the final shot of the quarter if they want to. Brown didn't want to. Gets his own pass back, and a jump ball is called.
And possession's going to stay with the Rockets here. I was surprised that Brown tried to make a move so early in the clock. He's still about 10 seconds left, which is more than enough time for Brown to get a shot off here.
And Brown is fouled by Lewis. That's his third personal.
A physical game here in the second half so far, Larry Larson. 7 fouls on each team. Both teams are probably going to be in the double bonus. This pace keeps up early on in the fourth quarter.
Brown making his second trip to the free throw line of the evening. Went 2 for 2 earlier and misses the first here. Snares his own board. Tries again, misses. How about a third try? No. Trying for a fourth, and he's tied up with Coker. Possession arrow favors Washington. They've got 2.4 seconds to work with.
You can see how frustrated Brown is as he checks out of the ball game. Missed the free throw, got his own rebound. Looked like nobody was home from Washington on the low block. 3 tries, still couldn't get it to go.
Lewis chucks it, and he got it!
Drew Lewis! Give me the hot sauce! Oh my!
One of the longest shots you'll ever see. Puts the Panthers back in front going into the fourth quarter.
Larry, I don't know if you can have a bigger swing of momentum. I don't know if you have as big of a momentum charge as you can. Draining a 3 like that right at the third quarter buzzer. I mean, you have got to be kidding me. It looked good when it left his hand. I thought it looked like it was going in. What a shot.
Tonight's presentation of Mid-Illini Conference basketball on Clutch Sports Media is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, home, auto, life, you name it, visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. Also brought to you by Kep Sports Bar and Grill, right down the street from Washington Community High School at 313 Muller Road. Great atmosphere, even better food. It's Kep's in Washington. Tell your friends we got a good one heading to the final 8 minutes of play at Torrey Gymnasium. Limestone looking to sweep the season series from Washington, but thanks to a half-court heave from Drew Lewis, the Panthers lead by 2 going into the fourth.
That one was beyond half court, Larry. That was at the volleyball line on the opposite side. See that white line to the left of the W. What a shot from Lewis. That might be the longest shot I've seen so far this year.
Daquan Brown turns it over. Jake Stewart in there to draw the tie-up.
Possession's going to favor the Panthers here. Seen a lot of loose balls, 3 in about the last about minute or so of gameplay. This is getting to be a real physical game here in the second half. After a pretty up-tempo and clean first half.
It does have a much different feel to it, Jonathan, and you figure that probably favors the Panthers.
I would agree so. I mean, Drew Lewis is a player that plays very well up-tempo. His game is quick. And the rest of this team, I mean, Jamari White and Jake Stewart, they all can push the pace. For Limestone, Daquan Brown could do it as well.
Here's Lewis slicing and dicing to the bucket, and he's off. The rebound goes to Deacon. Wide open, Wable. Limestone back in front.
Yeah, Cooper Wable can keep making shots. Limestone has got to be looking good down the stretch. He's got 8 so far. They can form a 1-2 punch with Wable and Brown like they have all season long. Limestone could have the Panthers on upset alert again.
Lewis dances on the dribble, now lost it. Finds Stewart, and he traveled.
Uncharacteristic turnover there for the Panthers. Limestone has frustrated Washington on more than a few occasions so far. Washington also frustrating Limestone as well. That's a real high-level competitive basketball game we've seen here today. Brown getting pressed.
Look at the effort from Jake Stewart as he doles out the foul. That's Stewart's third. And that sends Brown to the free throw line.
Sure, Brown will be looking at this as a revenge trip to the line. Missed his last one, got his own board. Had second and third opportunities to knock it in from point blank range, couldn't do so. But the sophomore knocks it in.
Brown up to 18 points for his game. Past his season average now by 2. Averaging 17 points per game entering tonight.
See the floor slap there from Brown. He's getting hyped up.
Mapson on the inside. Couldn't be easier for the big fella. Mapson with 11.
And that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Washington.
And Brown's pickpocketed. Mapson couldn't get a handle on it. Wable weaves in and out, kicks into the corner. Bell drives baseline, and another turnover, but a foul. Chaos in Torrey Gymnasium. Brown is all kinds of shaken up. Took a hit to the stomach, maybe the face again, Jonathan.
Yeah, Brown looks a little bit shaken up. It looks like he's going to stay in the ball game, though. But I want to go back to this happened there with Clayton Bell. He had an open 3 and decided to pass it up, drive the lane. Now he's going to have a 1-and-1 here at the line. A mature decision there from the junior. You know, it's as a former basketball player myself, I can tell you it's easy to get caught up in the momentum of the game. You want to drain that big 3. Nice job there from Bell, driving the lane and getting to the line.
Bell goes 2 for 2 at the stripe, and the junior has 4 points. Limestone has a 3-point lead. Under 6 minutes to play in a Mid-Illini Conference contest. It's been a tight one. Stewart off the dribble. Lewis, the follow, no good. And the pass out falls into the hands of the Rockets. Wable against Vanderheit, and he dragged the pivot foot.
Larry, I think if you're Washington here, I think you want to try and get the ball into the hands of your senior Isaac Mapson. He's found a couple wide open looks today, and they can drop maybe a set play for him to get open down low. That's just what you want if you're Washington.
Mapson on the perimeter. Coker now looking for space inside and doesn't get it. Stewart looking for Mapson. Doesn't get it to him. Coker, a turnover. Limestone with a chance to go ahead by 2 possessions, and Tony Thomason wants a timeout.
That's a good timeout there for Tony Thomason. You saw some trouble there in the backcourt. Nice job there to kind of slow the tempo down, which I think is going to benefit both teams. We'll see who it benefits a little bit more, though.
And Jonathan, what do you think the message is in Limestone's huddle before this possession, which could prove to be big?
I think it's just got to be don't panic, you know. There's no shot clock in IHSA basketball, although I know a lot of people want it. But I think you want to work the clock here, get some good looks, maybe get a nice bucket down low, maybe look for Driscoll in the paint, maybe get an open drive for Daquan Brown. If you can end your possession at the free throw line too, that could be very beneficial as well for the Rockets. They'll be in the double bonus the rest of the way out too.
Limestone 3 fouls short of putting Washington in the double bonus. Brown loses his man, but can't drop it in.
It's a good shot there from Brown, and I don't think you should have passed that one up.
Lewis, the hezzy, the runner, not enough English, second chance, you bet.
And Larry, that is why it's so important to box out Drew Lewis. He gets offensive boards better than any guard that you'll see, at least in the Mid-Illini Conference, definitely in the Peoria area as well.
Limestone in no hurry. Bell and Wabel playing catch. Now it's Brown. Face guarded by Stewart. Brown into the teeth of the defense is foul.
That's up there from Brown drawing the foul. Obviously, you want the ball in the hands of your playmakers. But Larry, what I think we're going to see a lot of here in these waning minutes, at least here in regulation, is Washington, they're guarding Brown a lot. I expect Limestone to do a lot of drive and kick, something to keep an eye on here in the final 3:53.
It's time for our final break. Don't go anywhere. Limestone leading Washington by 1.
Upgrade to 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive during Uftring's Traction for All sales event with new SUVs and trucks in stock and inbound, plus fresh trades and pre-owned for every budget. Reduce the slide in your ride during the Traction for All sales event at every Uftring Auto Group dealer.
Tonight's presentation of Clutch Sports Media is brought to you in part by Jake Weston State Farm. Give him a call at 309-444-4441 for all your insurance needs, or visit him online at jakewestoninsurance.com. Also brought to you by Kep Sports Bar and Grill here in Washington. Drive on down to 313 Muller Road here in Washington for a great atmosphere and great food, and take in all the big games on one of their flat screen TVs. It's Kep's in Washington. Limestone Rockets 43, Washington Panthers 42, 3:53 remaining in regulation. Glad you're with us on your Monday night on ClutchSportsIL.com. This game was originally scheduled for Friday night, got moved to Monday night because of a water main break here in Washington. But Jonathan, I'm sure glad, because this is as good as entertainment you'll find on a Monday night.
No kidding, a rare Monday night game here on Clutch Sports Media, and this probably the best Monday night game that we've ever had on Clutch Sports IL this far.
Daquan Brown misses the first free throw. The star sophomore's had a big game, but he goes 0 for 2 here. Washington hauls in the rebound. In case you're just joining us, it's been back and forth since halftime, when Limestone led Washington by 5 points. Andrew Coker works it around the horn. Now Jake Stewart hits Mabson. Goes to work on Driscoll. Turns back inside. Count the bucket and the foul.
And you see Isaac Mabson there, virtually expressionless after that basket. He's done this so many times, Larry. Just second nature for him. That's exactly what you want if you're Washington.
And
Mabson
Jonathan,
coming up big.
Maybe even bigger, that's 4 fouls on Daquan Brown.
Yeah, I think if you're Limestone, I think you're going to ride out Brown as far as he'll go, but that certainly hampers your defensive ability to play physical, at least for Brown, because they need him down the stretch.
Brown and the Rockets trailing by 1. Brown hounded by Mabson, and a timeout's taken by Limestone. 30-second timeout for Coach Thomason. And it's a calculated risk, Jonathan, to keep Brown in at this point in the game. Do you think maybe you send him to the bench for a few minutes and let him get some rest, and then maybe have him down the stretch in a 1 or 2 point game?
Larry, that's a real tough question right there. I think you got to keep Brown in this one. I think that, maybe you could sit him for maybe 30 seconds, maybe no more than a minute or so, because, I mean, you're going to want him out there every second of this one. And he's a facilitator on their offense. He's also a scorer. He's also very diverse in his scoring options. He can stretch the defense a lot. I think Limestone, no disrespect to their other guys, Frank Driscoll, Jacob Barrowman, Cooper Wable, they can certainly put the ball in the bucket as well. But DeQuan Brown just can spread out your defense so much and open up other possibilities. I think he's got to be on the floor if you're Limestone.
He remains on the floor at the start of the possession here. Wable. Now Barrowman hands back off to Brown. It's been guarded by Drew Lewis all night. Tall
Great
task for the sophomore, but he's sliced them up for 20. But like you said, good defense there by Lewis. There's that matchup again. Driscoll up top. Washington fans getting into it. Barrowman stepped on the baseline, going the other way. What a stand from Washington.
Yeah, great stand there from Washington. Got the stop. Took some time off the clock, too. I think it's a little bit too early to be talking about the clock, but anytime that you can take a couple more seconds off the clock, that's a couple more seconds closer to victory if you're ahead like the Panthers are right now.
Jamari White fouled by Wable. That's his first foul.
Washington still in the bonus here, although the next foul, though, go into a double bonus here. Limestone, though, it may seem like Washington has all the momentum right now, Big Mo as we call it, but even if White makes both these free throws, the three can tie this game right back up.
And White misses the first. It's going back with the Rockets.
Larry, there's been a lot of close calls on both sides. I mean, times where both teams have almost gotten a bucket and have it.
Drew Lewis with the steal. Lewis with the slam.
How's that for an exclamation point? Drew Lewis is getting this crowd going.
Lewis with 17. Washington with a 3-point lead. Brown the runner, and one more.
Tell your friends, tell your family, your aunt, uncles, grandma. Get over to Clutch Sports Media. My word, what a game this turned out to be. What a shot from DeQuan Brown. When his team needed him most, that felt like a possession that Limestone really needed it.
Brown to tie. No. Lewis the rebound. Panthers can take as much time as they want. Mapson doesn't want to take any, and why not?
Isaac Mapson, a huge bucket there. And yeah, like you said, Larry, he did not want to pass that one up.
Foul called on Drew Lewis. That's his fourth. So now both Brown and Lewis, the biggest scorers in this game, are both playing with 4 fouls.
And Lewis, 15 for Washington, and Brown with 19 for Limestone. Something to keep an eye on. I mean, if this one goes to OT, that could be a huge factor in this one.
To our count, Brown up to 22 with that free throw. Limestone trails by 2. Panthers trying to build on this one and put it away. They lost in December at Limestone. Looking for revenge on their home floor. Driscoll fouls Mapson, and he'll go to the line in the double bonus.
And if you're Driscoll, I think you didn't really have much of an option there. I mean, Mapson got a step on him, and pretty much had a free path to the basket with only Wabel in between him and the 10. I think that's what you got to do there if you're Driscoll.
Mapson with 16. It'll stay there. Still a one-possession game. Brown up the floor, guarded by Mapson now. Brown got the shot off, but not before the timeout. Full timeout from head coach Tony Thomason and the Limestone Rockets, with Washington ahead by 3 in what's turned into a nail-biter in the Mid-Illini Conference.
A good timeout there from the Rockets. Sure, that's definitely what you want to do, especially with Brown being guarded by Mapson. It's a different defender than what he's seen all night. It's been Drew Lewis guarding him, who's done his best. And Lewis, a great defender. Brown still leading the Rockets with 22 points so far in this one, but you got to get a bucket here if you're Limestone, because I don't think you want to play the free throw game with Washington. They found themselves in a lot of close matches this year, and free throws have helped them win a lot of them.
John, if you're going to take a 3 for the tie here, is it anybody other than Daquan Brown?
I think you can go to Cooper Wabel. I think he's drained a couple big shots so far. I would trust Cooper Wabel for sure. I think maybe you could drop something with like a drive and kick with Brown and Wabel. You also look at Jacob Borrowman too. He's also drained a 3 as well with 2 layups today. But I think you either want Wabel, Brown, or Borrowman. I don't think it's much of a secret that Brown will be the first option. Maybe he might go for an and one as well. Regardless, it'll be interesting to see. Boy, what a game this has been.
Limestone 4-4 in the Mid-Illini. Washington 7-2. Limestone trying to sweep the season series. Brown dances on the dribble, gets by Mapson, and he's fouled by Mapson. So he'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2 in the double bonus. If he makes both, it's a 1-point game again with 46 to go.
That's why free throws are, like we said earlier, such a huge difference maker in this one. Brown's missed a couple today.
Almost did there. Makes the first.
And that's the biggest one.
Can't get the second, but it stays a 2-point game. Panthers searching for the dagger. Stewart taking his time.
Gotta start fouling soon if you're Limestone, and they do.
Vanderheit checks in for the Panthers, as Lewis will go to the free throw line.
That's not the person you want to see at the line if you're the Rockets. Drew Lewis sunk some big free throws at the end of their game against Metamora. He was almost automatic from the line.
Right on cue, the broadcaster's jinx from Jonathan Michael. Lewis leading the Panthers with 17. And that freebie makes it a 3-point game. Timeout Washington. 25 seconds to go.
Well, Larry, first of all, I don't think it would be a game without the broadcaster's jinx happening. I know that Washington fans probably...
Rookie mistake, John, rookie mistake.
It's been a while. Been a while since I've been in the booth, but regardless, it's been a pleasure to be back in here. What a game this has been. Limestone, they haven't drained a 3 in a while, Larry. I'm wondering, do they try and tie it up right here? Do they go for the 2 and keep on trying to play the free throw game, maybe get a turnover also on the inbounds? I think you got to take what you can get, though, if you're Limestone. You can't be too picky. If the 3 is open, take it, especially if it's Wabel or Brown. I expect Brown to be heavily guarded, though. I'm interested to see whether he'll be guarded by Drew Lewis or Isaac Mapson. Something I'm watching for coming out of this timeout.
Beggars can't be choosers, especially on the road. Washington 50, Limestone 47 in a Mid-Illini Conference matchup. Glad you're with us on your Monday night. What better way to start the week than this? We'll have another Mid-Illini Conference matchup tomorrow night. East Peoria and Metamora right here on ClutchSportsIL.com.
It's a game I'm really looking forward to. East Peoria looking to avenge a 1-point loss to the Redbirds from last weekend. Two great days of early week action here on Clutch Sports IL.
Limestone can hold for the final shot to tie if they want. They won't. Driscoll down low, fouled. Jonathan, it feels like he's got to make both. Doesn't necessarily have to. Big for momentum with 14 seconds left, and especially if they're going to play the foul game.
No kidding, and I think there's a certain point in the game where you can afford to miss one and still be in it. I think we're at the point we got to make both of them.
That's the 5th foul against Drew Lewis. Panthers' leading scorer fouls out with 18 points.
That's huge.
Driscoll with 4 points tonight, make it 5.
Looks like Borrowman checking in for Daquan Brown. He's checking out, assuming maybe he doesn't want to pick up that 5th foul. That's probably why.
Driscoll's second goes down. Back to a 1-point game. Limestone will likely foul off the inbound if they don't get the steal. Mapson looking for options, got to hurry, and Eric Schermerhorn will take a timeout.
A good call there from Schermerhorn. Took him a couple seconds. Anytime where you've had about 3 or 4 seconds elapse, you kind of just want to take the timeout there, not risk getting a turnover, because then Limestone would have had the chance to win it. But Drew Lewis falling out of the game, that changes their whole game plan, I think, if you're Washington, because he's pretty much the guy you give the ball to every time when you inbound. Now I'm looking, he'll probably go to Jake Stewart, might go to Mapson as well. Stewart's certainly probably the better ball handler of the two. They could also go to Jamari White as well.
Micah Brewer checking in for Washington at the break. Game reset for you. Washington with 2 timeouts remaining. Limestone with 1. Both teams in the double bonus. Washington trying to split the regular season series between these Mid-Illini Conference rivals. Limestone took the first matchup on December 4th, 60-53 in Bartonville. It's been a back and forth battle all night long. Limestone led by 5 at the half. They've been led by their super sophomore Daquan Brown with 23 points. As we've been mentioning, Drew Lewis, leading scorer for Washington, fouled out with 18. Isaac Mapson still on the floor with 16 points. Micah Brewer will inbound. Hits Mapson. Back to Brewer. Brewer, foul.
Nice job there from Washington getting the ball into Mapson. It's pretty much wide open and then got the ball right back to Brewer. However, if you're Limestone, you want to be an optimist looking at this glass half full. Micah Brewer just checked into the game, hasn't shot any free throws recently. So we'll have to see if the 5'10 junior can come up clutch for the Panthers. Regardless of the outcome, they just have to get the rebound for Limestone.
Brewer misses the first. Brewer with no points tonight. The junior trying to come up big down the stretch. Makes the second. Braden Vanderheit checks in for Brewer. Daquan Brown back in for Limestone, and Washington wants another timeout. It's a full timeout. Limestone can play for the tie or play for the win with 10.9 to go.
Yeah, Larry, it's a lot of people talk about, you're down 2 in this exact situation. You go for the tie or you go for the win. If you're Limestone, I think you go for the win. I think you go for the 3 here. You're on the road against Washington. However, Again, Drew Lewis has fouled out, so this game does go to OT, so we have an advantage. Although DeQuan Brown also in foul trouble as well with 4. I still think you gotta take what you can get, though. I think we'll see what DeQuan Brown can do. If he'll create a shot, if he'll do a drive and kick. Pressure-packed situation here for these young Limestone Rockets, and regardless of the outcome, you gotta be happy that if you're Tony Thomason, their head coach, and they played such a close game, his experience is invaluable.
Head coach Tony Thomason for Limestone told us before the contest that Rockets just have not played good on the road all season long. They've been very tense. Rockets 6-14 entering this matchup, 4-4 in the Mid-Illini Conference. And now they've got a chance to sweep the season series from the Panthers. Here we go. Brown up top, open 3 from Bell, short, rebound loose, and a foul. Who's it against? It's against Limestone's Jacob Barrowman. So Jake Stewart will go to the line in the double bonus on the other end with a chance to put it away.
That's the shot you want to take if you're Limestone. Wide open 3 there from Driscoll.
Stewart's first, short. Limestone will still have a chance to play for the tie.
Huge free throw here.
He made it. Back to a 3-point game. Timeout taken by Limestone. They burn their final timeout.
My word, Larry. I mean, 4.1 left. Limestone still has a chance to tie it. Seemed like Washington had a couple chances to put it away. Missed a couple from the line. Limestone also missed some chances at the line as well. But they're still here, 4 seconds left to go, and they can still send this game to OT with a 3. And if you're Washington, though, message is you cannot foul. Limestone's probably going to be shooting a 3. If you foul them on a 3 and they make it, they could win. That'd be pretty improbable. But Washington just got to play some solid defense. Get in their face, but don't get too much in their face. And I think that's what Eric Schermerhorn's telling his players right now.
Limestone has to inbound from the far side of the court. They've got 4 seconds to race ahead and hit a 3. Daquan Brown has led the Rockets with 21 points. The official scorers tally, to our tally, 23 points. Super sophomore's done everything this year for the Rockets. He could get a shot to send it to overtime here. It'll be Bell to inbound, and Eric Schermerhorn will take his final timeout.
Well, you can't take him home with you, Larry. I mean, might as well take that timeout if you're Eric Schermerhorn, figure out what the Rockets are in. Also maybe make them think about it a little bit more as well, like trying to ice a kicker in football. Certainly whoever takes a shot for Limestone might be one of the biggest shots of the season. Try and force OT against the home Panthers.
Washington trying to stay hot. They've won 3 in a row and 10 of its last 11. Limestone just snapped a 4-game losing streak with a win over Pekin last Tuesday. Bell again will inbound. Daquan Brown is guarded by Mapson. Listen to these fans. Bell ahead. Brown with 2. Brown for the tie is off. Panthers stay hot and defend home court.
Boy, Daquan Brown had a shot there, but he was pretty off balance. Nice defense there from the Panthers. Looked like they might come away with a steal. Still, nice job defending that 3. Nice job defending home court. So it's got to feel good for the Panthers as they avenge Limestone's win against them early in the season. They come back with a 52-49 victory. What a game.
An incredible game, an incredible effort from both sides. Just can't say enough about Daquan Brown. CSM picked up one of Limestone's earlier season games. It was the Daquan Brown Bowl, Peoria and Limestone. And I know Joey told me that Brown didn't exactly have a huge game, but he's sure impressed here in Washington tonight.
Definitely, and you look at his stats. I mean, just look at the way he just carried his team tonight. And then you look at the roster, you see he's only a sophomore. That's got to be scary if you're a Mid-Illini foe. You have 2 more years of Daquan Brown, and he's already scoring 17 points a game. What an effort for the sophomore tonight. As a team, Limestone was very impressive as well. You saw Wable hit a couple of big shots. Borrowman came up big. Driscoll hit some clutch free throws. Ultimately, they came up too short. Washington's experience definitely helped them in this one. Isaac Mapson, Drew Lewis, the usual culprits, if you will. Nice job, though, by Washington. They played very, very well. They didn't let Limestone get the best of them twice this year.
Washington improves to 17-6, 10 games above 500, and 8-2 in Mid-Illini play, while Limestone falls to 4-5 in the Mid-Illini Conference. Next up for both these teams, Limestone will take on Quest tomorrow night at home before the snowstorm hits. Washington will host Dunlap on Friday. Next up for us here on Clutch Sports Media, we'll have another Mid-Illini Conference matchup tomorrow as East Peoria hosts Metamora, a rematch of a thriller last Friday. Should be a good one. Tip-off now pushed up to 6:30 p.m. due to the incoming snowstorm. Beat the snow. Just watch it with us right here on Clutch Sports Media. Jonathan, your final thoughts from Washington.
Well, I mean, Washington took care of business, and I had a hunch that Washington had the advantage late in the game because they've been in so many close situations this year. They've been battle-tested. Limestone has as well. They've played a very tough non-conference season, and you look at their record, they're now 6-15, but they're still 4-5 in the conference, which is, after a down year last year, 4-5 is nothing to sneeze at as well. They pulled off a win against Washington earlier. And again, they're still right in the thick of things. I think that's a team you can keep an eye on as the postseason rolls around. They could steal a win here or there and shock whoever they play. I mean, Limestone, very good team. Can't wait to see them play more. Washington, great teams defend their home court and don't let their rivals beat them twice. They did that tonight. I really like what I saw from Drew Lewis, Isaac Mapson, and the rest of the Panthers.
So that about does it for our coverage here from Washington on this Monday night. Again, the final, Panthers hang on in a thriller, 52-49 over the Rockets. For our entire crew, Sky Gillespie, Joey Wright at the controls and on camera, and my partner Jonathan Michael, this is Larry Larson saying thank you for watching and so long. We'll talk to you tomorrow night from East Peoria.